You probably think this world is a dream come true, but you're wrong.
So I have to start this whole video over. I'm so annoyed by it. Okay, so I was discussing the child who murdered that manager woman, and I feel a lot of empathy for her, but I'm going to add points on this, okay? I used to work in food management, and I'm going to say a couple points. People are not understanding the lack of compassion a lot of people have, okay? People are also not understanding there are children who were not raised. It's not enough to say they don't have guidance. No, baby, they were not raised. No one raised them. And I hate to say this, is not to be cruel to the younger generation. Some of these kids act feral. Like it's their first time ever experiencing anything because no one taught them anything or showed them anything. And because most of them raised themselves, they're not going to listen to someone, right? A lot of the kids don't respect authority. They're not going to listen to authority. You have a lot of that going on. And I feel like that's another point to bring into that conversation because I've seen it myself. I'm a person that when I used to work in management and food management and I see some of the kids having like a bad day or rough day, I would let them have a break. But if they are not able to work or do anything, like their mind can't even function to do the job because of whatever is on their mind is overwhelming and too much for them, baby, I just send them home with a meal. I'd be like, go ahead and go back home. Here goes some food. Because I have to keep the day going, right? You have to keep doing that. Y'all got to realize a lot of these kids don't even understand that that's what it's really like to be an adult. They don't realize this is just the beginning. You're going to have to keep doing this. And so you have a lot of these kids, that's why they crashing out at these jobs like that. Y'all don't understand the crash out that a lot of them are experiencing is because the realization of the truth that's tied into work ethic. No one is going to care that you're tired. No one's going to care that you're angry. No one cares that you're feeling like this, that, the third. The day must go on. The work must go on. Someone must continue like what's happening, right? Especially if that's what you signed up to do. You understand? I also will say that I don't know everything about the situation and how it turned out because I'm going to be real, none of us was there at that moment. But I do want to say, condolences to the families because I still think that that's sad that this girl that's young, she lost her life, whether she realized it or not. She may be alive, but she lost her life because she couldn't control her emotions. She couldn't control all that she was feeling. So she just crashing out and acting crazy, right? Then you have the adult who I feel sad for. That's 6 children who now don't have a mother. Do you understand? It's just sad that people can't see the loss of real compassion and empathy in real time. And on those videos, I saw that video of that little girl. She looked mentally unwell. She did. That little girl looked mentally crazy. And I hate to say this, y'all ever heard a saying they say about people who dye their hair that bright red color? Like, we know the ones I'm talking about. Yes, that is a sign that a person is going through a lot of mental and emotional stress. A lot of people don't understand that, like it is. So as soon as I seen that little girl hair, I was like, oh yeah, she's on her last, that little girl on her last rocker, baby. She's on her last point. And before she's about to actually try to harm someone. And what's scary is because some adults don't understand or some of them even lack compassion. And this is not an excuse to what that girl did by no means. But because nobody saw the warning signs, all of that could have been prevented to me. If someone would have just paid attention enough, right, to see the warning signs. But nobody did. So now you have 2 people that lost their life. Children being left behind. Another child, right? They're going to be in the system, right? We see that. They're going to end up off. And it's scary. Okay? It is. It's so scary watching a lot of this happen in real time because I don't even think people understand how worse it's going to get. If you think that what you just saw is bad, baby, it's going to get worse. Okay? And I also want to add this too, as a person that used to be a manager in restaurants, something that I noticed too, they don't have separate trainers for people. Okay. And it would piss me off because I said, no, you need to hire people that train people. And that's all they do is train people because the proper training literally will make the business thrive, right? Handling conflict, handling situations. Like I remember I was working with one girl and I was training her, right? And this is why I was working as a restaurant manager. And I told her, hey, you're going to have customers that are nasty. I said, they're going to be so mean to you. They're going to do this. And I said, you got to understand to not only not take it personal, but some of these adults walking around this world, they are unhealed children. I told her that's the best way to say it. I said, they are unhealed children. They come in here yelling at people, mad at people, making demands of people. And then they think less of you because in their mind, you're working at some fast food place, right? They think less of you. Okay. So you have to realize you can't take nothing they say is that's who you are. You have to realize that you have to still act professional regardless. And I said, it's hard. And so because they don't have these type of trainings anymore and they don't tell these kids like how it really is, I've seen kids literally jump over counters and put their hands on people, fight, and you got to call the police. Now both of them getting reeled off to jail. I just lost an employee. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to bring somebody else in here and hire somebody else to work in a position because this person, don't have home training or has no control. And because I told you a lot of these parents, y'all have to realize we are in a fatherless generation. There is so many of these kids that don't have, they weren't raised. Do you understand? Like they're feral. Like they were basically in a house, probably sleeping, showering, eating. That's it. But no one takes them to the dentist. No one takes them to the doctor. No one guides them. No instructions. No one does that. We were probably the last generation, like I'm a millennial. We were probably the last generation to receive guidance from people, being raised, right? And understanding, hey, somebody teaching you, hey, this is the way this is the way the world is. This is the way da-da-da-da. Those kids don't have that. Most of them don't have that. So they're coming in their first environment and all they know is somebody ticked them off. They literally will put their hands on these people. Like I remember the first time I seen somebody jump over the counter and fight a customer. Shocked. I couldn't even believe I was like, what? No, right? Me? Okay, I gotta call the police. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and then a lot of these kids think they can threaten anybody. This is what I mean when I say they don't have home training. They were not raised. They think they can do stuff like that and then they think it's funny. Baby, most of these kids will end up dead or in prison. And what's worse is I said, wait till you meet a person that's bigger and badder than you. All I'm telling y'all, it's kids I have met. I had to tell them, and I said, your problem is you think you're the biggest, baddest person huffing and puffing around. And I said, baby, there's always somebody bigger and badder. And when I say you will end up losing your life. And so that's why I stay away from some of these kids that behave this way, act like this, say this stuff, threaten people. And the problem is a lot of these kids are so delusional. They actually think that you're scared of them. Baby, this is not fear. You're going to mess up your life. You know how crazy you look for threatening people? Do you know how stupid you look? See, they don't think they look stupid. They think they look gangster. They think they look cool. Some of them really do. They think they look cool doing stuff like this. Also, I'm a person that's always treated people with respect. And because I have and because I'm always kind to people, I don't mistreat people's children. Right? I'm going to speak to you, but I don't mistreat you. I'm not going to curse you out. I'm not going to act crazy. I'm just going to look at you and be like, are you okay? Are you really okay? And they be so shocked because they didn't act crazy, crashed out and did all that. They're so angry and mad that that's my reaction. I said, that's because I was raised right. That's because you can't react to every situation. That's like you reacting every time somebody say you ugly or something. Well, that's their opinion. You know what I mean? You can't control what they say. Right? It's like when I hear people, a person, what if they call me fat or what if they do? I'm just going to look at them and be like, that's weird that you're focusing on me. You okay? That's all I can say. Because I see that they're mentally unstable and they're mentally unwell. Those people are so unwell. And y'all, it's a lot of kids out here that's real deal like this every day. Okay? And I'm telling you, it's at school, it's at everything. I remember, y'all, I taught for 1 year. I quit that same year. I said, oh, absolutely not. I will not be doing this. When I tell y'all, not only do some of the kids can't read, they don't have guidance, they don't have structure, nobody raised them, but they would send these kids to school expecting us to do the job of a parent when all I'm supposed to be doing is teaching. But I just wanted to make my little video about this. And again, condolences to the families. I think it's just sad all the way around, y'all. Be safe.